It was a bright and busy afternoon at the luxury car showroom. Shiny cars stood proudly under the lights, and the staff were chatting and laughing. Expensive suits, polished shoes, and fake smiles filled the room. The door opened, and a woman walked in. She wore a plain gray kurta with simple sandals. Her hair was tied back in a neat bun. She carried no purse, no phone in her hand, just calm eyes and a quiet face. The receptionist looked at her from head to toe and whispered to the man beside her, "Looks like she came to cool off in the AC." They both laughed. The woman didn't say anything. She slowly walked to a red luxury car, running her fingers gently over the smooth surface. Her eyes were sharp, focused, noticing every detail. A young salesman standing nearby rolled his eyes. "Ma'am, this car costs more than your entire wardrobe," he said with a fake smile. The other staff laughed quietly. One of them added, "Maybe she's lost. Should we call a cab for her?" Still, the woman said nothing. She moved to the next car, this one a sleek black model with leather seats. She opened the door, sat inside, closed it, and simply sat in silence for a few seconds. The sales team was watching her from the corner, laughing again. "Wow, now she's pretending to test drive it in her imagination," said the manager with a smirk. "She won't buy anything," another whispered. "People like her come just to dream." But the woman wasn't dreaming. She was observing, watching, listening. A younger intern approached her nervously. "Ma'am, do you need any help?" he asked kindly. Before she could answer, the manager pulled the intern aside. "Don't waste your time. Focus on real customers," he snapped. The woman finally stood up, closed the car door carefully, and walked toward the exit. The receptionist raised an eyebrow. "Leaving already? Don't forget your free air conditioning." The staff chuckled again. But then, something unexpected happened. The woman paused at the door, turned around slowly, and looked at everyone in the showroom. Her face remained calm, but her voice was firm. "I've seen enough," she said. The laughter stopped. Everyone stared at her. Without another word, she took out a phone from her pocket and made a call. A few seconds later, she spoke clearly into the phone. "Yes. This is Meher Qureshi. Fire the entire showroom team. Effective immediately." The room went silent. The manager blinked. "Wait. What?" The woman ended the call and looked around the room. "I came to test something today," she said. "Not the cars, but the people." One staff member stuttered. "Well, what do you mean?" "I came to see how you treat a normal customer. I didn't tell you who I was. And now, I don't have to." Before anyone could speak, two black cars pulled up outside. Security guards stepped out, followed by two people in business suits. They walked straight to the woman. "Ma'am," one said with respect, "the board is on standby. Terminations can begin now." Now the staff were frozen in place, their eyes wide, their mouths open. The manager stepped forward. "Ma'am, please." "There must be some misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Meher said simply. "You judged me for my clothes. You mocked me behind my back. You offered me no respect. And you're not the only ones. That's why I'm here." "But who are you?" asked the intern, trembling. She looked at him, her eyes softer now. "I'm not just a customer," she said. "I'm the CEO's daughter, and starting today, I'm in charge of this showroom." Gasps filled the room. "You all forgot one thing," Meher said, walking toward the exit. "Every person who walks through that door deserves respect. Rich or poor, young or old. You had your chance." She paused and turned one last time. "Next time you laugh at a customer, remember this moment." With that, she left the room. Behind her, the staff stood in silence. No more jokes, no more laughter. Just fear, regret, and a lesson learned the hard way. As the heavy glass door closed behind Meher, silence filled the showroom like a thick fog. The staff looked at one another, confused and frightened. The manager wiped sweat from his forehead. Even the receptionist, who was laughing a few minutes ago, now sat stiffly, staring at the entrance. 2 security guards remained by the door. Behind them stood 2 professionals in black suits, carrying files and tablets. They walked in calmly and began checking names on a list. One by one, the staff members were called into the back office. The whispers began. "Who is she?" one staff member asked in a low voice. "She said she's the CEO's daughter. Is that true? How could we not know? She looked so simple. She acted like a poor customer. I didn't even think. She was real." In the staff room, the air was tense. The manager, Mr. Danish, paced back and forth, rubbing his temples. "This can't be happening," he muttered. "Why didn't anyone tell me she was coming?" The young intern who had tried to help Meher sat quietly in the corner. He felt nervous, too, but less afraid than the others. He remembered her calm voice, her sharp eyes. She didn't look angry. She looked disappointed. The door opened, and one of the suited men stepped in. "Mr. Danish, please come with me," he said. The manager stood up slowly, adjusted his tie, and walked out of the room. The others watched him leave, holding their breath. Inside the office, Meher sat at the head of a long glass table. Her expression was calm but serious. Her father, the CEO, appeared on a large screen behind her in a video call. Other board members were also connected. "Mr. Danish," Meher said coldly, "you're the branch manager. Everything that happens here is your responsibility." "Yes, ma'am," he replied nervously. "But if I may explain, you had your chance to show respect," she cut him off. "Not just to me, but to anyone who walks in through those doors." "But ma'am, if we had known who you were—" Meher raised her hand. "That's the problem. You only treat people with respect when you think they're powerful." The room was silent. Behind her, one of the men handed over a tablet. "These are the customer reviews from the past 3 months," Meher said. "Dozens of complaints. People ignored, laughed at, turned away, and yet your report says customer satisfaction is high. Why is that?" Mr. Danish looked down. We filter the negative ones before sending the report." "That's called lying," she replied calmly. Back in the staff room, the tension was growing. "I think they're going to fire him," whispered one employee. "Maybe all of us," another said. "They said she was sent to test us. Undercover." "But why didn't anyone from head office warn us?" the receptionist asked. "Maybe that was the test," said the intern softly. "To see who we are when no one's watching." The others looked at him, but no one replied. Deep down, they knew he was right. In the meeting room, Meher finished, speaking to the board, and turned back to Mr. Danish. "You will be suspended while an investigation continues. HR will take over for now," she said. Mr. Danish nodded slowly and left the room without a word. Next, the 2 suited professionals began calling more staff members one by one into the meeting room. Some tried to make excuses, some cried, some blamed others. But the CCTV didn't lie. Neither did the voice recordings. Every word they said to Meher, every laugh, every insult, had been recorded. And now, one by one, the truth was coming out. Only the intern remained sitting silently. When his name was called, he stood up slowly and walked into the meeting room. Meher looked at him for a moment. Her expression softened slightly. "You offered help," she said, "even when others told you not to." "I just thought it was the right thing to do," he said quietly. She nodded. "What's your name?" "Ali," he replied. "You'll be staying," Meher said. "We need people like you." A small smile appeared on his face. As he left the room, the others looked at him with wide eyes. "He's safe?" one whispered. Ali didn't reply. He just sat down and looked at the floor. The message was clear now. This was no joke, no game, no test you could cheat. Respect wasn't just expected, it was required. And those who forgot that were already paying the price. 2 weeks earlier, Meher sat in her quiet office on the top floor of her father's company's headquarters. She looked out at the city skyline, thinking deeply. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from her father. "Call me when you have time. We need to talk." Minutes later, she was on a video call with her father, Mr. Qureshi, the CEO. "Meher," he began, "do you remember the showroom in Model Town?" "Yes," she replied. "Why?" "There have been complaints, disrespect, carelessness, customers saying they felt insulted. I sent our top manager to check and he said everything is fine. But I don't believe him." Meher narrowed her eyes. "So, what do you want me to do?" Her father leaned forward on the screen. "I want you to go. Not as my daughter, not as a company executive. I want you to go like a normal customer, someone they won't recognize. See what they really are behind those fake smiles." She nodded, slowly. "You want me to test their hearts, not their sales?" "Exactly," her father said. "And Meher, don't warn them, don't tell anyone. This needs to be real." Meher agreed. "I'll go, and I won't wear designer clothes. I won't take the company car. I'll be simple. Let's see how they treat the invisible." Her father smiled with pride. "That's why I trust you." After the call ended, Meher stood and looked at herself in the mirror. She wore a sharp business suit and diamond earrings. But in that moment, she knew they had to go. She pulled her hair back, removed her jewelry, and picked out a plain kurta from her cupboard. "I don't want respect because of my name," she whispered to herself. "I want to see how they treat people who they think don't matter." The next morning, Meher walked into the showroom just like she had planned. Simple, quiet, and unknown. She remembered the looks, the laughs, the comments. Back at the showroom, the atmosphere had changed completely. The laughter was gone. The fake smiles were gone. Everyone was quiet, sitting straight, scared to even breathe too loud. Staff whispered in corners. Some checked their phones to see if anyone had posted about the incident online. But no one expected what would happen next. At exactly 3 p.m., a black luxury car rolled up to the entrance. The driver stepped out and opened the back door slowly. Out came Mr. Qureshi, the CEO of the entire company, and Meher's father. He didn't speak. He didn't smile. He just walked in with calm, strong steps. His presence alone felt heavier than a storm. Everyone stood up. Phones disappeared into pockets. Shirts were straightened. Ties were fixed. The receptionist tried to greet him with her usual charm. "Good after..." But he raised his hand gently. "No need." His eyes moved slowly across the showroom, scanning each face. No one dared to meet his gaze. He stopped in the center of the showroom. "You all know who I am," he said quietly. "But today that doesn't matter. I didn't come here as your CEO." He looked around again. "I came here as a customer." Silence. Because today, a customer was insulted, not for the first time. But this time, it was the last time. Some staff lowered their heads. Some looked shocked. A few had tears in their eyes. Mr. Qureshi continued. "My daughter walked in here as a simple woman. You didn't know her, and that's fine. But how you treated her, that's not fine." He paused. "Do you think poor people can't buy cars?" No one answered. "Do you think only rich-looking customers deserve respect?" No one moved. Then, slowly, he raised a printed report in his hand. "This is your monthly performance sheet. Do you know what's missing from it?" Kindness. He dropped the report on the nearest table. "It doesn't matter how many cars you sell. If you make even one customer feel small, At that moment, Meher entered the room. She stood quietly beside her father, wearing the same simple clothes. Her eyes scanned the room. Some staff looked away, ashamed. Some looked at her with guilt. Mr. Qureshi nodded toward his daughter. "She taught you a lesson today," he said. "Not with power, not with anger, just by showing you a mirror." Then his voice grew firm. "Those who laughed are gone. Those who lied are suspended, and those who stood silent must now choose, change, or leave." A murmur ran through the staff. One employee stepped forward, shaking slightly. "Sir, I'm sorry. I should have spoken up." Mr. Qureshi looked at him. "It's not too late. But from today, silence in the face of wrong is also wrong." Then he turned toward the young intern, Ali, who had helped Meher on that day. "Ali," he said, "you didn't know who she was, but you still did the right thing. That's the kind of heart this company needs." Ali was shocked. "Sir, I was just doing my duty." Mr. Qureshi smiled. "And that's what makes you special. You didn't wait to be told. You acted with respect." He looked around one last time. "This showroom is not just about shiny cars. It's about people. From today, every customer will be treated with the same respect, no matter who they are. That's not a rule. That's our promise." Then, he and Meher walked out together silently, leaving behind a team forever changed. They didn't need to shout. They didn't need anger. They brought truth. And the truth spoke louder than anything else. The next morning, something strange happened. Meher was still in her office, reading reports, when her assistant rushed in holding a phone. "Ma'am, it's everywhere!" Meher looked up. "What do you mean?" "Social media, news websites, TV channels. Everyone is talking about what happened at the showroom yesterday." Meher took the phone and opened a news app. The headline was bold and shocking. "CEO's daughter humiliated by staff, fires entire showroom team." She clicked on the video. It showed blurred security footage, Meher standing quietly, staff laughing behind her back, and then the moment Mr. Qureshi arrived. The internet had caught fire. Thousands of people were commenting. Some were angry. "This is how poor people are treated every day. Finally someone stood up." Others were thankful. "Salute to Meher." She didn't show power. She showed courage. Even more shocking, other people began sharing their own stories. A young man posted, "I was once told I couldn't afford the car just by my clothes. I walked out without saying anything, but now I feel heard." A woman wrote, "I cried in a showroom once because no one came to help me. I thought maybe it was just me. Now I know it wasn't." Within hours, hashtags began trending. Respect every customer. Simple, but strong. Meher Qureshi story. Meher's assistant looked amazed. "Ma'am, this is more than news now. It's a movement." Even rival car companies were posting things like, "Every customer deserves respect, rich or poor. We stand by this message." And then something unexpected happened. The showroom's main doorbell rang. Meher's assistant answered it. A delivery man handed him a large envelope. It was from the Ministry of Business Ethics. Inside was a letter. "Dear Meher Qureshi, your silent action spoke loudly. We would like to invite you to be the keynote speaker at the National Business Culture Summit next month. We believe your story is not just a lesson, it's an inspiration." Meher read the letter and smiled gently. "I never wanted attention," she said. "I just wanted to remind people, every customer is a human being." That afternoon, Mr. Qureshi joined her in the office. He had been watching the news, too. "You've started something bigger than the company, Meher," he said proudly. "You've started a wave of change." She looked thoughtful. "But change needs to continue. One story isn't enough. We need to teach this in every showroom, every office, every shop." Her father nodded. "Then let's do it." Outside, more journalists waited. People were already gathering at the showroom gates, some holding signs. That said, I am also that customer. Respect has no price. Simple dress, strong heart. Mayor knew the fire had started. Not a fire of anger, a fire of awareness. And now, the question wasn't who she was. The real question was, how many more voices had stayed silent, waiting to be heard? While the world talked about Meher's story, someone else quietly became a hero in his own way. Ali, the intern who had stood beside Meher when no one else did. He didn't wear a fancy suit. He didn't have a big title. But he had something most others didn't, a kind heart. Ali was sitting in the back office finishing his reports when a senior manager walked in. Ali, the CEO wants to see you. Now. Ali's heart jumped. Me? Why? The manager smiled. You'll find out. A few minutes later, Ali walked nervously into the conference room. Meher and Mr. Qureshi were already there. Ali, Meher said warmly, we've been waiting for you. He sat down slowly, unsure of what was going on. Mr. Qureshi leaned forward. Do you know why we called you? Ali shook his head. I just did what I thought was right. Meher smiled. Exactly. That's why we're here. She placed a file on the table and slid it toward him. Ali opened it slowly. His eyes widened. It was a promotion letter. You're no longer an intern, Ali, Mr. Qureshi said. From today, you are our new customer relationship trainer. Ali was speechless. But I'm just a student. I've never trained anyone before. Meher nodded. But you understand what matters. You understand people. You treated me with respect when you didn't know who I was. That's something no degree can teach. Tears formed in Ali's eyes. I don't know what to say. Mr. Qureshi smiled. Say yes. Ali laughed softly. Yes, sir. Yes. The news of Ali's promotion spread across the company like fresh wind. People started calling him the intern with a heart. Later that week, Ali was asked to speak at a small company event. He stood on stage, a bit nervous, holding a mic. Everyone waited. Ali took a deep breath. I don't have big words, he began, but I have something to say. He looked around the room. When I helped Meher Ma'am, I didn't know who she was. I just saw a person who needed help. That's all. People nodded. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. You don't need power. You just need to care. He paused. I learned something important. The smallest act of kindness can create the biggest change. The room went quiet for a second, and then applause filled the air. Meher stood at the back of the room, smiling proudly. She didn't just find justice. She helped others rise, and Ali, the quiet intern, had now become a voice for respect and humanity. In a world chasing numbers, he reminded everyone of something greater, values. 1 week later, the city was still talking about Meher's story, but this time, the story wasn't about firing the team. It was about something bigger, hope, change, and respect. The showroom had reopened with a new team. Every staff member had gone through special training, not just about cars, but about kindness, humility, and how to treat every customer with dignity. Meher stood at the front of the showroom with Mr. Qureshi and Ali. A small event was being held. Banners waved outside. New start, new values. Respect every customer. The media was there. So were students, business owners, and even ordinary people who had felt disrespected in the past. A woman in a simple dress stepped forward. She said, I was scared to enter a showroom like this before. Today I feel welcome. Meher walked up to the mic. She looked at the crowd with calm strength. I didn't plan any of this, she said. I came here like any other customer. What happened next showed me something painful, but also something powerful. She paused. We often think power means money, position, or control, but real power is how we treat each other when we think no one is watching. People nodded. she continued. We can build big towers, open huge showrooms, and sell expensive cars. But if we lose humanity, we lose everything. Then she turned toward the staff. To my new